tuned into Breaking the Mask of Depression with your host, Diva with Depression.
Welcome to Behind the Mask with Diva with Depression. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you follow me or if you know me, you know that I always talk about my heartbeats, my babies, my daughters. And everyone is always asking me about how you parent a child with a mental illness. So since it is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and tomorrow is World Suicide Prevention Day, my oldest heartbeat and baby has decided to join me so we can let you in on a little bit of our lives. Welcoming my baby, Tony C. Hi, Tony.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous. It's just like we're talking all the time. And I'm going to let everybody know that I've already given you the pep talk that, we're honest here and I didn't prep you or anything. So we're just going to get into it and start talking.
Okay.
So the first question that I have for you is, at what age did you recognize that something might be wrong?
Okay, so it actually took me a while to get this one because I'll always say that as far back as I can remember, I always had issues kind of with emotional regulation. I've always been sensitive, things like that. I think high school, so around or maybe end of 8th grade, 14. So yeah, 13 or 14, I think, is when I really started to notice that I was just sad and lonely. But again, I think I've always had trouble kind of with my emotional regulation. So, but yeah, I guess 13.
I think I kind of noticed high school. So, I've always told people that around 11th grade, I think 11th grade, but, so I guess in between those, that time frame is a good answer. What symptoms did you notice that made you think that something might be wrong or made you feel different?
I was just really sad. I just felt lonely. I mean, I had a few friends, but I felt lonely. And then once 11th grade hit, I think that's just when it got the darkest. And I think that's when it was the most noticeable. So that time I just stopped caring about how I looked, late for school, grades plummeted. I stopped talking to a lot of friends. Remember, I was eating lunch in the bathroom. So I think those were the biggest times.
Do you think that your friends or family noticed that there was a change? Did anybody approach you or say anything to you about it?
My friends know. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that we're all teenagers. Nobody understands what's going on, so I don't fault them for that. I mean, I guess you noticed. I think Lauren was too young to notice. I don't think Dad noticed, but I guess because I think in this time I might have just started going to my first therapist around this time. So I guess it must have been some kind of like inclination that something was going on. I don't think anybody really knew how bad it was. I don't think I knew how bad it was. So yeah, I guess.
So you didn't share how you were feeling with your friends, your family, teachers, counselors, anything like that?
I really don't think so. Not on that. Definitely not before therapy. I really don't think that I went into detail. And I think that's just because I didn't know how bad it was. I think I thought all my problems were related to like not having as many friends or being over. Like I don't think I really knew what was going on. So unfortunately, I don't think I told many people.
Did you feel like you were ashamed to share it, or it was just, you were scared to share it? You didn't know how people would react?
I think it was about, I don't know, I guess scared. I mean, obviously ashamed.
Yeah.
I think just not knowing how to explain it, not feeling like I had a reason to be upset. I think at a certain point, within our household,
Yeah.
there were just a lot of things going on, and I don't think that was the time to really say anything. Or yeah, so I guess maybe scared or shame, bad timing, not knowing how to express my feelings. Because I think even my first therapist, I barely talked to him.
Yeah, he would always say that. He wouldn't talk.
Yeah.
And I think that's key for us to highlight the fact that you said that you didn't know how to express it, number one, and number two, you didn't think that you felt like you had a reason to feel that way.
Right.
And I think that all of us go through that, and I, the three of us are always talking about it, and we always say, well, we have this, we have that, is it ungrateful to feel this way? So thank you for saying that. That's a good way to say that you just didn't think you had a reason to.
I also think it's important, though. I'm sorry to interrupt, but while we're talking about that, looking back on it, I think now there's just so much more information about, mental health.
True.
But looking back, a lot of the adults, I think, in my life and stuff were so, she's bratty, she's spoiled. The big thing, she's dramatic, lazy. So I think that those kind of, you start to think that there's nothing, you're just being dramatic. And I think I'm just kind of getting to the point where I'm, trying to like get rid of those adjectives. But I think that, I think that the adults need to watch what they're saying. That stuff carries.
Yeah. And it's interesting, and we talk about this all the time, that my mother did that to me. Whenever I would express my feelings, or if I was crying, her way of shaming me was like, oh, don't be so damn dramatic, or give me a break. And I probably did it with you, not thinking, number one, that it's something that would hurt, or number two, that it would, it would turn into something that would stop you from being you. If I would say, oh, Tony's being dramatic today, it just means that, you do express yourself more, or you do, it's not dramatic. It's just you. You're just extra. You're just extra special. You talked more than Lauren did. And so, I have to apologize, like I always do, about saying that, but I just wanted people to understand that that's how I was raised with that term. And then I turned around and I did that to you, and you see how it turns out.
Right.
Yeah. So when was your first attempt at, well, let's start with this. When do you think that you started having suicidal thoughts?
Maybe because we didn't really know what that was. I'm gonna say 13. And without putting anybody's business out there, I did have a friend who also struggled, and it was something she brought up to me, her, like, a way that she would deal with it. And I think so, yeah, I think around 13 is when maybe I was not exposed to, I don't know what to say, because it crossed my mind.
Right.
Because we didn't really know about it. We didn't have access to any of this stuff. But yeah, I think around 13 is maybe when I had my first few thoughts about it. I think it got serious. I think, yeah, like 11th grade. So what is that, like 15, 16? I think that's when it got pretty heavy.
Okay. And when was your first attempt?
I can remember 16, probably. I don't know. Okay, so the issue is a lot of the stuff I kind of tried to forget. I'm gonna, the one from the first point that I can remember, I'm gonna say around 15 or 16. We were living in the second house on Red Leaf. So, oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, so around that time.
Okay. And if you want to share, you don't have to, but did you have multiple attempts?
I did. So by the time I went in, I went to the hospital when I was I just turned 18. So by that time it was around
Okay.
5 or 6 attempts.
Wow. And how did you keep that from us?
I don't know. I don't know. Because I don't think I don't think you knew anything until I started going to therapy. Remember the therapist called you in, but I don't know. But that's something that nobody knew. I don't think.
And well, number one, I'm glad that you did go to therapy. That was it was tough getting you there. But it's good that you did go. What methods, if you don't mind, did you choose?
So pills. I didn't know what I was doing.
Okay.
So in my mind, I thought you just take anything. I mean, I was taking anything.
Okay.
And I would always throw up after. I think the last attempt before I went to the hospital, I took, I think I was sometimes some antidepressants that I was on. I think I took a lot of those. I think maybe some stuff that you had, I might have took just anything. I did throw up that day. But the next day I just I felt weird. I felt maybe I hadn't gotten it all out. That's, yeah. But yeah,
So is that what, did you scare yourself, or is that what made you decide to tell us?
yeah, I think that's when I was like, I think I said I just need to go to the hospital. I knew that I needed to go
Yeah.
to the hospital. I'd scare myself. Yeah.
And I remember that day, and I always share with people that I really just thought that you had eaten something that made you sick the first time that you started throwing up. And I do think that Lauren is the one that came to me the first time to say that you were throwing up. And so yeah, I think that it was pretty scary, and I can tell that you were scared when you finally decide to share it with us. What were you thinking, when it was finally time to, number one, tell us, and number two, go to the hospital?
Scared is like an understatement, because
Yeah.
I got there, I had to be on suicide watch. So never heard of this. Didn't know that this was a thing. You couldn't stay. So I was in there by myself with this lady. It was like a security officer outside the door. I was scared. And then the next day, I met with a psychiatrist. Scary. I don't think I knew. There's no way that I knew it was gonna happen. And so I was terrified. I was terrified, and I know that I regretted at the time saying something. I know that. Do you remember when they put me in the what was it, the police van?
Yeah, with the sheriff.
Yeah. When the sheriff took me out there, first of all, I didn't want to go. Here I am about to get in the front seat. He said, no. And he put me in the back. I said, okay, no.
And to share the parent side of it quickly, when the whole experience crushed me, and I remember when they said that I had to leave, and the nurse, I just busted out crying in the hallway, and the nurse said to me, it's okay. And I was like, no, it's not. And since you had just turned 18, you were no longer my child. I couldn't make decisions. And so when they came out, they didn't tell me right away that they were going to send you to a hospital. I heard them whispering at the thing, and I made a scene. I threatened the sheriff, and I told him, I was like, well, nothing better not happen to her between here and there. And we followed behind you the whole time. And I remember thinking, from the time that we got to the hospital, that, I had never let you go before. And I said, I can't imagine how lonely she must feel. My first time being in the hospital, I was, in my 30s. And it was scary for me. So I can just imagine what it's like for, a teenager to have to be in that space.
Yeah, that was that was scary. I think I must have cried from the time he shut the no, I think I must have cried the entire time. And when we got there, I don't think it I think it was before visiting hours. So I had to go in by myself. And I'll never forget the nurse that did my intake. She's asking me all these questions. She's like, have you been sexually abused as a kid? Like all these trauma questions. I'm like, no, 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 no. And then we get to the end. And at this point, I had finally like stopped crying a little bit. And she says, okay, sweetie, there's nothing wrong. You're just a little girl that got lost. I started bawling. I'll never forget that.
You never told me that.
Well,
Wow.
I don't think she meant it
In a bad way.
in a bad way. I
Yeah.
think just, but something about it made me, I don't know. Now that I'm saying it, I'm thinking maybe, I mean, I was scared. Maybe it made me feel a little hopeful, or maybe I felt understood in the moment. Because I felt bad when she was going through the question, and that's before I really understood what trauma is, and that trauma is different for everybody.
It really is.
So I felt bad, like, again, like,
Yeah.
why am I here? I don't, yeah. But yeah, I'll never forget that. It was very scary. When I got in the room with the roommate, they took all my stuff. I said, "This is ridiculous," and I cried. I think they had to give me something to go to sleep. I couldn't sleep. So
It's a scary experience. I try to share that with people all the time that, going to the mental health facility is scary. It is a lonely feeling. And you go through everything, shame, why am I here? Um, it's a lot. I know that a lot of people, and I can't even put it in an age group. I know a lot of people that live with mental illness, they lie or don't share everything when they're inpatient. Do you think that you were truthful with the doctors and yourself while you were there?
oh no, I just wanted to get
Okay.
out. I think maybe the next day you have to have like a group meeting or
Yeah.
something. And once I knew that it was dependent on me, so I had to go to group and I had to take my medications. I knew that I wanted to I did what I had to do to get out. So yeah, no, I don't think I was truthful.
How did after this experience, how do you think that it affected your relationship with your friends and your family? Did your relationships change? I know, after I got sick, I lost a lot of friends. You know, did people treat you differently? Because I don't remember, I know that we didn't share it with a lot of people. I think maybe just your aunt, and of course your uncles, but I don't think that it was, we shared it with many people.
Yeah, I mean, as far as family, I think the people that did know, they were supportive. Around that time, I think I started isolating a lot, so I don't think I was as honest with the 3 friends that I don't think I was that honest. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think you and I became closer. I think it was different. I think in some ways I thought that you guys didn't care that much, or it was nice to see that, maybe you guys cared more than I thought you did, or yeah, I guess.
That's interesting because I don't know. I think that as a parent, you always, one thing that I always say is, oh, me and my girls are very, very close, but it doesn't matter how, and I think I'm saying this for parents, no matter how close you are to your children, there's always room for you not to know everything, like,
Right.
I would have never thought that you felt that way, um, that you couldn't share with me, um, or that you felt that, there were limits to my affection and love. And I won't speak about for your dad, because the relationship was totally different. Um, but I'm glad you shared that, because that tells parents, number one, that you always have to be aware, and you always have to make sure that your children are talking to you, or just let them know that you're there for them. You
Yeah, you
know,
have to do much. I don't think you have to do much. I think to be fair, um, I think you guys were going through your own things. Um, so I think that it's difficult, eh, specifically with like my mental health issues. I think with you and I think you were really just starting to get a grasp on, your own diagnosis and kind of getting back on your feet. I don't think that, I mean, no offense.
no, I want
I,
you to be honest.
I don't think that I don't think that you guys were in the position to be able to understand the kind of support that I needed at the time. And this is just looking back. And I think I looked at that as maybe not caring,
Right.
or the arguments we would have, like if we would argue, I think I don't think that you guys were just in a spot to really understand, or maybe you understood, but to be able to provide the support that I needed at the time. So I
And I
know.
guess this will be a bonus question. And do you think that me having my breakdown and going through the mental health journey situation, because you guys are 7 years apart, so
Yeah,
there's more that you remember than your sister will remember,
right.
but do you think that the experience that I was going through, or watching me go through, do you think that that had any effect on your situation, or how you handled the situation, or how did that fit in?
I mean, I think when that whole thing happened, I think I felt like I had to grow up a little,
Yeah.
I felt like I had to grow up a little quicker.
Yeah.
Um, you just feeling like I need to take care of things. So I couldn't do that. There was no room for, I don't want to, because I'm not trying to make it seem like it was an awful.
No, and I think that you need to you need to be honest, no matter what. I always tell you, your feelings are valid. Your feelings are your feelings. So don't be afraid to tell me how you honestly feel. And that goes for anybody. I always say that, your feelings are valid because they're your feelings. That it's your experience. So if that's your experience, then
I'll just say, I think around that time is when I may have started practicing putting myself like on the back burner.
okay,
um, of course, you don't know what that is at the time, but
right.
putting everyone else's needs before your own, and that with family, that's with friends, that's just with anything. So maybe that affected me that way.
Hmm.
Um, but it's a really lonely time. It was a lonely time. I just felt like I had to take care of things. I was last, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I get that.
But I don't want to make it seem like I had like, I don't want to, y'all weren't bad. We didn't have a,
It doesn't matter though, and I think that that's what, you know, talking to parents and on this journey that I've been on, the last couple of years, is that parents equate their children's experiences with them being a bad parent. And that has nothing to do with it because, we could have been, the absolute best parents if that, if that's a thing. But something outside of the house could have affected your trauma, which had no effect on us. We didn't do it.
Right.
So though that's not a disclaimer that you have to use. You have to always go with your experience and your feelings.
I agree. It's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard. I can't imagine being a parent and watching there's no way that you can't put some blame on yourself or take it personal as if you did something wrong. So I can understand.
I think that yeah, well, everybody knows this is my first interview, but I think that I would love to do an interview with your sister individually and then an interview with the three of us. And then we can talk more about how it would affect, how it affects both parties, because it's hard on both, so we'll have to think about that.
I think it's a good idea. I think, we're close, but I'm sure there's some things that we probably haven't said to each other, or, I'm sure there's probably things we don't know. So yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
Okay, so where are you at now in your mental health journey?
Okay, so I was talking to my boyfriend about this earlier. My boyfriend's name is Justin. So I was saying that I feel like I was doing it like on a scale of 1 to 10. So I feel like at that time, the darkest time, I'm in the negatives. Okay. And I think now I can say that I'm a solid 7.5 on a good day. I think it's a work in progress.
Okay. What, if you don't mind, what diagnosis have you received?
Just in general or right now?
Yeah.
Depression, bipolar disorder, the most, I think, situational depression, or so my most recent diagnosis is ADHD, combined type, and then major recurrent depressive disorder. So those are my 2 diagnoses.
And do you still go to therapy and take medication and, continue to fight through it?
Yeah. I don't go to therapy. I stopped going to therapy, but I do have a psychiatrist. I am on medications. I feel like I finally found 2 antidepressants that work for me. And so yeah, I'm taking my medications every day. I'm just kind of taking it as it comes. I'm gonna have good days, I'm gonna have bad days.
Right.
I'm in nursing school, so that keeps me busy. I don't sit around as much. I think that helps me. It doesn't help your bed. It does help me. Because you got to get up and I gotta go, so that helps. And plus I'm actually pursuing something that I've always wanted to do and that I'm passionate about. So it helps keep me going.
And my final thing is, what will you tell a teenager or a young adult about depression, getting help, talking, suicidal thoughts? What advice would you give?
Number one, I think it gets better. I think it's very hard in the moment to think that, but it does get better. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I think there's so many resources out there now. Like you can go to therapy online, what is like BetterHelp, the hotlines. There's so many like forums and chat rooms. Just you're not alone. There are people who are dealing with the same things that you are. I understand that everybody has the privilege of having like supportive family,
right?
And things like that. But if you do, I would talk to them. They can get you the help that you need. But I think the main thing is it gets better and you're not alone, and you're loved. But I think that's my main thing.
Well, thank you for being my first interview.
You're welcome. I was the first guest. I'm nervous.
My first guest, my first baby. You're the first everything. But thank you for sharing your story. I know that it's difficult, even sharing with me. So sharing with everybody is difficult, but thank you for coming on and just sharing your experience and giving hope to other people and helping your mommy.
Welcome. This was
So
exciting.
it is. I'm so glad that you did it.
I'm gonna do it again.
I think that this is going to help a lot of people. And because we are in a back to school season and different things, I think that this will help a lot of people.
I think so. I think you're changing lives. I think you're doing great things.
Oh, thank you, baby.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you for coming on. This has been Behind the Mask with me, the Diva with Depression. Please, please, please like and share. The world is crazy right now, and we're going through different struggles. So you don't know if information can, change one life. So like, share, listen, stay healthy, stay peaceful, and continue to keep fighting. Bye. Thank you, Tony.
Welcome. Thank you.